I don't know if you can hear the howling wind that's happening outside, but there's howling wind happening outside. And it sounds like the background noise of a Hammer horror film. So does this. When you watch old movies and you see someone opening a letter or tearing a letter apart or folding a piece of paper or whatever they're doing with paper, you hear the noise of the paper. You hear the noise of the paper with these old ledger books. This is from 18 something or other. I buy old ledger books because the paper is so beautiful. Even if it has whatever this is on it. $2. That's when $2 meant something. I love the sound of paper. This is a Swan desk pen that's in sort of rough shape. I never noticed that before. Those little rings continue on the inside of the lever box. How difficult was that? No wonder we went to the moon and back. If we could do that, we could do anything. It goes on the inside. It goes down. That is really something. Now, what else would it do? I'm asking myself. If it just stopped there, it would fall off. Obviously, Per Gustafson. I guess I never realized how complicated. This probably was the most expensive part of this pen to produce. God damn it, we have to make another one of those Swan pens. Well, what made me look at that, I probably have others. Do I have others? Seems to me that might have been part of a pair. In talking about a Swan pen, I rediscovered this one, and it's just a delight. It didn't have a nib, and I was imagining the perfect nib for it. See? Hear that in the background? And this almost is a perfect nib, except it says Waterman 100 Year instead of Swan Eternal, or whatever Swan would say. So, and this is a little tiny bit big, so it's been jammed in there by yours truly. So let me undo it. This 100-year pen was just, I was looking for a nib to fit this and found that one that looked like it would fit, physically fit, and also has the quality that I thought this pen would deserve. Now this pen, being heavy and short, I like putting stub nibs in it. I'm getting it dirty with the pen on the ink on my table. And there's something that the weight of this pen is such that I'm very conscious that I'm holding it. And the weight is forward more than on a normal pen, which is more balanced back here. So, excuse me. In pens like that, I like to put nibs that are stubby and maybe a little tiny bit firmer. And this pen nib seems to be the kind that I think it would like. Is that pushed in far enough? When I put the Waterman nib in it. It was hitting the back of the cap until yes, this pen nib now fits this pen better than it fit this pen. This one I will put back. Does this fit without hitting? Yes. When I screwed the other one on, I could hear the iridium grinding into the top of the cap, which is not a pleasant sound to hear. Luckily, I heard it and stopped the forward motion. This is the right pen nib. Pretty much the right pen nib. It's slightly stub, which matches the stubby size. The weight is forward, and it's skipping. And it's skipping because I'm just dipped it in water, dirty water. Slightly now cleaner than it was before. So, what does this pen, when would I ever use this pen with this nib, other than to just sit here and doodle? I would invite people to a pumpkin carving contest party. Dear Blanche, dearest Blanche, A-N-C-H-E, do come. See, I think I'm writing. I don't know how I'm writing. I'm writing sort of aggressively vertically. There's that hammer. Hammer Films. Do come to my pumpkin carving contest. Bring your own knife. What, other than that pumpkin carving contest invitation, what would I use this pen for? The orange made me think of the pumpkin carving. Again, my thoughts about these Swan pens in general was this sort of Catholic Church conservativeness, dogmatic belief in traditions of olden days. There's just something very, even when these pens were brand new, they were old-fashioned. It's like the people that were the designers at the Maybe Todd Swan company arrived at work via horse and buggy, not by the newfangled automobile. And they put on their little pince-nez glasses and adjusted their wingtip collar on their shirt and got to work. It's just very, it has that feel to me. Watermans, as I said, also have that grandpa-ness to them, old-fashioned-ness to them, but not with the, they're doing it out of, this is what we used to do, so goddamn it, we're going to do it again. Keep doing it. If it ain't fixed, don't, if it ain't broke, you know what I mean. God damn it. That's what this company was all about. Where this company was more they were old-fashioned, but with some sort of belief system behind it, I guess. Anyway, none of this is true. It's just what I think about when I should be doing the dishes in the sink. In general, though, if this pen was brand X and was this fat and this short and this heavy, this is the kind of nib it would have. Maybe it should be just a slight bit fatter on the side stroke, just a little bit more bulldoggy like, but the side stroke here seems fine with if I've added my Catholic sensibility to this pen. So this is the pen that was used to sign the indulgences. I'm sure that the Catholic Church still does that, you know. Here, with this signature, Pope, whatever his name is it Benedict? I don't even know. You are absolved, my son. It seems to want to write, you know, sort of in that either Old English black letter stuff you see in manuscripts because of its slightly stub nib. So it would do well with illuminated manuscripts. It's really a treat, and if you people could hold this in your hand, I think you would appreciate some of what I seem to be trying to say to you, if not all of it. Well, I don't expect you to appreciate it all the way that I am, because I'm a nutcase. But the weight, the forward heaviness to it, the squat stature, fat, beefy aspect to it, I think you would probably love it or hate it. I love it. I'm one of the people that love it. So there we go. I've got that fixed. I learned something about a Swan pen, desk pen trim, which just astounds me. No wonder we went to the moon, because we could do that. Can I say anything else about this, or should I just stop the video right now? The clip seems a little bit bent this way, which is the flaw in the Navajo rug, which doesn't bother me one bit. It's interesting the wear that this pen has. It almost has no wear. You can, you know, the inscription is still very crispy, but I shouldn't have defocused it there, but the little ball has all of the gold plating worn off. What does that tell you, Watson? And there's, no, I thought there was some problems there, but there isn't. What is that little line? Well, Holmes, it was in a pocket. Yes, Watson. And it was in an inner shirt pocket. No, they wouldn't have had shirt pockets at this time. But the wear is out here. So maybe it was on an inside coat pocket, and the man that the cardinal had a shirt made out of hair because he was sinful. Or, it's very interesting. If this was on the outside, this was worn here, which is understandable. But if you didn't have an inside shirt pocket, if you had an inside shirt pocket and you wore a Harris tweed outer jacket or sport coat, but you know what I mean, suit coat, the interior lining and part of the jacket would rub up against that and rub it off. That makes sense. If you didn't have an inside shirt pocket, which I don't think they had back in those days, maybe they did. Well, anyway, that's its flaw. Normally, you would also see this part. There's a little bit of plating there, I guess. Anyway, I can't make any sense out of this Holmes. And then Holmes would look at it and say, well, he was a divorced man with dandruff and lived in the country and had a dog. You astound me, Holmes. Elementary, my dear Watson. Did Holmes ever say elementary? I watched a Basil Rathbone Terror by Night movie yesterday that was colorized, which was just awful. And the script had Basil Rathbone saying, "So I observe," at least 3 times. And I thought that was twice too many, at least. Anyway, just a delightful pen. It's just, in many ways, it's a perfect pen, as so many pens are. They are perfect, but they're perfect only when you match the shape, in my mind, when you match the look of the pen with the nib of the pen and what purpose the pen is, to what purpose the pen is put. Is that what it should be? Here's a Wall Eversharp, not as fat, a little tiny bit longer. This has a really nice nib in it as well, even though the nib is a later Skyline nib, but this nib is a nice rubbery. Actually, it's a little tiny bit. It's very similar to this pen. But this one I feel I can sketch and push the pen in all different directions without worry. This nib is a little bit more delicate than that. I mean, it might be as strong, but it would tear the paper because of its sharp side stroke there. This nib works fine with this pen too. So let's just take these 2 pens. This one I used for my invitation to my pumpkin carving contest. Now that I've written those and sent them out, what is this pen good for? I use it for sketching. There's something a little tiny bit wrong, and the cap should post another little tiny bit further in, but it's either been warped or something's a little bit screwy with it, and I don't want to risk it. The pen, Watson, what can you say about this pen? Well, this man was on a diet. His doctor said if you don't lose 20 stone or whatever they use over there, you're going to die in a month and a half. So the the pen is just covered with teeth marks. And the fatso that owned it is just continually chewing at this because he really wants to eat that chicken that's in the kitchen. And he doesn't even need to have it cooked. He's just rip the head off and gobble the thing right down because he's so hungry, or has some other oral fixation. God, the teeth marks on the clip ring there on the back is just covered with them as well. This pen is one of those weird ones that has the metal on the inside there that corroded and caused the threads to expand a bit. So the cap doesn't, it also pushes over the threads before you can barely screw it on because the threads don't quite work anymore either because of that expansion. But, okay, enough of that. It's just... okay, I've invited people to my pumpkin carving thing. This might be a good pen to do my designs for how I would cut a pumpkin, because it's sort of the bulldoggedness of it, the shortness and the sort of rubbery feel of the nib. It sort of is good for sketching, and I would feel I wouldn't need to be too exact, because how exact can you be when you're carving a pumpkin? I know some people can probably they get out their scalpels and their calipers and their whatever they are, and they'll come up with the perfect pumpkin. But this one is more I'm imagining pumpkins, are carved with the same amount of skill that you did when you were a kid carving a pumpkin. I wonder how many children severed their jugular veins, or whatever, fingers off carving pumpkins with the butcher knife from the kitchen. Oh, I can just cut that. Mom! This would be a good pen for that, but this has a better purpose, and I don't know what that is. I use it for drawing, and it's perfectly fine for that, because I can push this all over the place and not worry about it tearing the paper or skipping. This is how far it screws. It engages here and it goes there. That is not a strong seal. This one, on the other hand, how many times do I turn it? Okay, engage. 1, 2.5. That doesn't seem like that much, but it really is compared to some pens. Maybe there are Swans that are require more turns than that. Most of them do. Well, I've spent 24 minutes of the rest of my life doing this, which I've enjoyed. I don't know whether you have. But now I do have to figure out what I'm doing for the rest of my life, which seems pointless these days. But I am going to work on more of my little constructions in the gallery. I've got one I'm going to finish come hell or high water. And I hope, right now I don't like it. It's not working out as well in reality as I thought it would in my head. I'm going to finish it and then I'm going to do another one that's in my head and kind of fresh. I know how half of it's going to look. I don't know how the other half is going to look yet. That's what's bothering me. I'll just tell you about it. And you can. The show in the gallery is called Construction Destruction. So my thought is to have, here's the ground, and I have two cranes over here, and they'll be drawn in some sort of fun way. They're facing each other. And this one is building with maybe red girders. I have a lot of stripes, red stripes I got from the U.S. mailing priority mail boxes. And it's going to be building a very regular skyscraper, and it will be, the crane will be adding another girder up here. And down here, they'll start doing the gray application of the outer surfaces. I'm going to make them all the same gray. Here I'm applying different grays. Maybe there'll be an under gray here, or they're putting the insulation in or something. So anyway, this truck is going to be building essentially a big gray rectangle with no beauty to it. And this is a wrecking ball here, and it's going to be toppling, tearing apart a perfectly good, beautifully manufactured, built by hand, not extruded out of a machine, Victorian era building that is just going to be coming apart. And this is going to be made of the brown cardboard. So I probably will have this be made of some, maybe this can just be black. I don't know what this is going to be, the base. Maybe it'll be brown as well. And I have target boxes set aside for this. Target boxes I normally don't do this. It's not going to be used a lot, but I normally, if I'm making a construction of a person out of cardboard bits, and on a piece of cardboard I see a smiley face, and I could just cut out the smiley face and stick it on the head, and it would be, I don't like doing that. That seems easy. Somehow it seems not clever enough for Per Gustafson. So the target boxes show interiors of a house full of Target products, and they're drawn with geometric patterning, and I thought I could use that to describe this details on this building, and I thought maybe they can be the wallpaper of a exposed apartment that's being destroyed. But that's what they are on the box, so that would be cheating. But I could use that pattern, those repeated little lines, to be the exterior molding. So like up at the top of the roof here could be layers of texture, printed things that represent texture, for the entablature? No. What is that called? The cornice. Entablature is down here. But I have a lot of fitted cardboard, things like this. Come on, Per Gustafson. Well, of course it was on the bottom, and of course it was this thing. So these can represent the arches of within the building. So there'll be pre-cut openings on this one. This will just be a beautiful symphony of shapes and colors and textures. And when I say color, I don't mean color. It's all going to be brown and black, but it will be just full of richness, and this is going to be full of nothing. And that's what we're doing these days. We're tearing down things like this and putting up things like that, and that's considered progress. Not in my book. Now, will I have the cranes be more or less the same, or is this going to be an old-fashioned crane with an old-fashioned wrecking ball, or shall I have the old-fashioned crane doing this and the new thing doing that, the new thing destroying the old film? You know, I don't know. Or are they going to be equal? Will one mean something more than the other? Does it make any difference? Probably not. You know, the workers here going to be wearing, the workers over here wearing hard hats, and the workers over here wearing soft fedoras, like they do in the old pictures of men wearing hats at work. I miss those days. I never lived through them, but I miss those days. I was once an Inca princess in an earlier life. Well, I was a guy digging a ditch in New York City wearing a hat in an earlier life, and I miss it. What were you in an earlier life? Write your answers below. And do you think I'm just full of shite when I talk about that pen being a Catholic pen? Write your answers below. Bye. There's that wind again.